Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres, and if you'd like to apply to be a guest in the show, just head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, so today I have Ibrahim Sagna on the line, and he's an executive chairman over at Silverbacks Holdings. And this episode is part of our Middle East and Africa Summit coverage, where we bring you the best of those that attended the Middle East and Africa Summit in Abu Dhabi, hosted by the Milken Institute. Ibrahim, welcome to the show.
Hey, Adam. Great to be here.
All right, so excited to get into what you're doing over at Silverbacks Holdings, specifically investing in Africa's tech, sports, entertainment, and media. Got a lot going on there, and talk about what you're also going to be getting into in 2026. And to get us started here, though, let's start with the Middle East and Africa Summit, the MEA Summit that took place in Abu Dhabi. Talk to me, how was your experience?
Outstanding. It was superb. Fantastic to see you. And obviously, all the friends at Milken have done a phenomenal job. We love this event. It's one of our favorite ones. It's our second or third time showing up. And we are taking it religiously. And I hope you too. I think it's the best event that happens in the region. And on top of it, what you will observe is that it's happening just at the right time. There's the one at the end of it. And then you have the Abu Dhabi Finance Week. So you get to get your cake and eat it too.
Yeah. What keeps you coming back? A lot of different things that you could be doing, obviously, in the region, lots of conferences, lots of things going on. What makes the Milken event special? Like, what makes it different to you?
So for me, I've been attending Milken events for a decade. So I'm a loyalist. And the region we cover at work is African Middle East. So having Abu Dhabi being the place that hosts this event is perfect because increasingly the UAE has become the epicenter or an extra state of Africa and an extra state of India, an extra state for anybody in Asia. So it becomes a cup of fool where you get a chance to do business. We ourselves conduct a lot of activity in the UAE. I'm a resident of Dubai, so for me, it's almost a few minutes from home. I'm also based in Cairo for the rest of the time. Having the event, have so many friends come in from different parts of the world, a lot of people from the States, a lot from Europe, a lot from the African continent, a lot from Asia. Milken does the right mix. Because not only brings different geographies, but many sectors. You have a lot of leaders from the financial service sector, a lot of leaders from the technology sector, a lot of leaders from the entertainment and various sectors. So for us, it's the right time. It's the end of the year. You can just sit down, reconnect, and prepare for the year to come.
That's wonderful. Let's get into Silverbacks Holdings. Talk to me about the company. Where do you want to begin? How do you want to tee this up?
So the company, we started it 6 years ago, 2019. I would argue that if we had to, the simplest name for calling the company was COVID, because COVID is really what created this company. It was created at the back of it, because I was in Dubai when this idea came about. I almost died. I was in COVID, hospitalized. And a doctor kind enough to help me to not go on the other side. But you know what they say, when you're about to pass, you realize a few things. So for me, it's one statement from Buddha and also used by today, which goes as follows, that every individual has two lives. And the second one starts when you realize that you only have one.
Wow.
So when I almost passed, and resuscitated by some local doctors, a lot of thought and a lot of review of my life. Went through and decided that there's a few things that since I was given the second chance, the second act, I and some close friends wanted to do things that were dear to us. So we established this company called Silverbacks Holdings that specifically is organized around a simple idea that we take seriously, which is that with the advent of tech, companies based in Africa or the Middle East are able to reach just about anybody in terms of service. And that's true when you start with technology, but when you start with financial services, but also commerce, but also sports and entertainment. Because technology allows frontier to disappear and allows entrepreneurs from one geography to truly go global. And from our standpoint, we are born, most of the members, most of the management, most of the partners are all born in the African continent, from Cairo to Mauritius, Senegal, Djibouti, Ghana. And we decided we're really going to bring our common experience. We all have worked together in the past in previous capacities and wanted to provide ambition to build something global. And over the last 6 years, we've been quite lucky to find these rare gems, these silverbacks that we offer from a wide group of gorillas. And these leaders really stand out on the back of 5 criteria that we follow judiciously. The first one is we are looking for founders that are second act or serial founders. Secondly, we're looking for founders who are able to build a business that is commanding a growth rate of over 60%, whether in terms of revenue level, EBITDA level, or a metric that is consistent over more than 2 to 3 years. So these are post-market fit companies, and these businesses typically have crossed the $10 million revenue threshold. The largest company we are backing today has already $600 million in revenue within the year. The third criteria is a company that must have over 30% of their invoice revenues outside the African continent. So in that segment, we're looking for companies that are moved beyond one country in Africa to 2 to 5, and now that are operating in Asia, in Europe, or in the US, and that are collecting hard currency, whether dollar, British pound, or another currency, because there's a lot of volatility, whether you're in Africa or in Latin America or in Asia. Currency volatility can be an issue. So for us, in terms of risk management, finding these businesses that operate across geography are very important. One of the examples of such companies is one that we all know called TikTok, that basically comes from a geography called China, but has 10% of its business in the US, but 90% of the business is in many other countries. So that business starts in China, but it's a truly global business. And that's what we believe the future ahead looks like for many companies coming from different geographies. What we've observed for 40 years, where you've got the US giving birth to companies like Facebook, companies like Uber, you're going to start seeing such companies emanating from other geographies and going global for a simple reason that technology allows frontiers to disappear.
So as we go into 2026, we're in mid-January now, like what's on the docket? Like what's on the plan?
So for us, the year has started in a great manner. In fact, there's an article about us on Bloomberg today, so I invite you to go check it out. We've announced that we are in conversation with the NBA. We basically have been investing in basketball for the past 5-6 years in South Africa, team in which we invest that basically compete with the Basketball Africa League that belongs to the NBA. NBA has established a tournament in Africa called Basketball Africa League. We've had the Cape Town team inception. That team evolved to become a semi-finalist in 2024. We also competed in China in a tournament run by the CBA, the China Basketball League. But also we have a combat sport team in Nigeria for African War Fighting Championship. And that platform has partnered with DAZN, which is the Netflix of sports, as well as Stake, which is a online betting platform that backs the UFC. So this is the UFC of Africa. We also invested in that business. So for us, 2026 is a year where we want to do more in basketball with the NBA. We're bidding for the franchise that they want to establish on the African continent. They are doing 2 parallel efforts, one with the African continent and one with Europe. So we're pursuing the Africa opportunity with the NBA. And our sports platform on Combat, we basically have crossed, we're getting close to 1 billion views across media platform.
Wow, that's amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, basically people that fight, and there's fights in the African continent, specifically Nigeria, and it's propagated in YouTube or the Zone. And our largest viewership outside of Nigeria is in Brazil and the US of A. So imagine that people are
Yeah.
physically having a tournament on the continent, but the viewers are in a massive
Wow. Yeah.
and one of the things that we discovered through that journey is that the second largest viewership comes from Brazil. And a lot of people don't add Brazil to Africa, but Brazil has 100 million Black people. So it's actually, in terms of population, after Nigeria, Congo, and Ethiopia, the next concentration of Black people is in Latin America, and they love this sport. So imagine how technology allows you to regroup a large market that you typically wouldn't be in your purview in other sectors. Because the continent, people look at the 1.5 billion people on the ground, but fundamentally, there's a lot more of that market outside the continent, especially in terms of the diaspora, whether you look at Brazil and Latin America or the Caribbeans and just the diaspora that sits in New York, London, and different parts. In fact, that market is really the core business we are after. All the businesses we are typically backing are really looking at this population of close to 350, 400 million people that making significantly higher disposable income than the average that you find across Africa. Because Africa as a whole is a big demographic, but people making over $10 a day is just about 60 million people. So if you're looking at a strong purchasing power, it's the size of France or Italy. But if you want to look at it outside the continent, you're suddenly looking at the market larger than the US of A. So that's really what technology allows you to do, is suddenly backing businesses that are providing services to the diaspora in the US, or providing sports or entertainment via the internet that is watched by the diaspora in Brazil. And also backing movies that are sold to Netflix. We're backing a business for Forever 7 that was started by an Indian lady that second generation grew up in Nigeria and started producing movies and has sold already 2 movie IPs to Netflix. We made some good on the back of it. One of them, famous one called Namaste Wahala, and another one called Postcard. In each instance, the production, the movie has been top 10 in over 50, 60 countries, including Dubai, including India, including Nigeria, and the US. Her fundamental concept is a bit of a monopoly. She makes love stories between Indians and Nigerians, whether it's in TV series or in single movies. That's basically 300 million population falling in love with a segment of 1.3 billion. So that's a large total.
Wow. Yeah.
So nobody is doing love stories between Black and brown people, and she's covering that vertical.
Oh,
so
man, what a story. Yeah, how smart. Go ahead.
Yeah, now she's getting ready to do a cartoon, and we're also backing that idea. And she did Namaste Wahala #1. For 5 years, Netflix sat out of it. And now she's getting it back, and we're getting ready to basically prepare to shoot and finance the sequel. So when you think about it, all these ideas have the common theme that you are backing an entrepreneur that resides on the African continent, but fundamentally they've erected a product that is consumed by people across various parts of the globe. Our biggest and best company is a company called Move that is backed by Uber that has 10% of that business. When we backed that business 5 years ago, it had 6 to 7 cars. And today it has 40,000 cars in the system. It was their primary client. So you can see real growth items 6 to 40. And the client they used to have in the beginning was only Uber, but they've added since then Bolt, Grab, and most importantly, Waymo, which is Google, the
Mm,
biggest market cap company in the world after Nvidia and Tesla. So that company has appointed them to roll out autonomous cars in Miami, Phoenix, and London, and probably
mm.
other places. So you can imagine this business has started in Lagos, Nigeria, and then today is in 29 cities across 5 continents, all on the back of technology.
Mm, I love it. Ibrahim, this is a great story. You got a lot going on. I'm loving this. That being, appreciate you making some time coming on the show today. How do people follow up? How do they follow the journey of the companies and Silverbacks Holdings just in general? How do people connect?
So first and foremost, definitely Google Silverbacks Holdings. Our website is silverback.holdings.
Mm-hmm.
But most importantly, we invest in media. So we have a podcast called In the Valley Podcast. I repeat, In the Valley Podcast. You'll find it on YouTube and every single streaming platform. We also are on Qatar Airways. It's a podcast that we've started from the get-go that we own 100%. And you have most of the CEO of the business we back, people from other sports league coming to speak as guests. We had for not too long, we had the CEO of Move. We've had the CEO of NBA Africa and former NBA players coming as guests. You get a chance to know more about Silverbacks, but most importantly, you get a chance of seeing the Africa they don't show you on TV. Because for
Mm.
us, Africa has always been in business. Africa has always delivered. It's always been a success. It's not a potential. The talk of potential is just a fiction.
Love it. I love it. This is a great story, one that I'm happy to bring to my audience. And for everybody listening, just so you know, we'll definitely put some links in the show notes so that you can connect and go and check out those podcasts too. You know, we love the podcasting community around here and want to support. So definitely go check it out and subscribe. And speaking of the audience, and speaking of subscribing, if this is your first time with Mission Matters and you haven't done it yet, this is a daily show. Yes, you heard me right. Daily, each and every day, we're bringing you new content, new interviews, and hopefully new inspiration to help you along the way in your journey as well. So again, hit that subscribe or follow button. And Ibrahim, really appreciate it. And I look forward to continuing to watch the success of Silverbacks Holdings. So thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me in the show from podcaster to podcaster.